Hello, everyone. My name is Tanya White, and I am a senior consultant at Charity People. I specialise in recruiting fundraising roles within the fundraising team. And I'm also a member of the EDI committee at Charity People. And one of the things that I'm really, really passionate about is how do we get more people into the charity sector and to consider the charity sector as a career from an early and young age. So there's so many different ways, and what's great is I've been able to sort of partner with a lot of organisations in the last year who are also very, very passionate about that as well. Another thing is just about upskilling. So how do we get more fundraisers to upskill as well? So I'm really, really happy to be joined by Laura from the JGA group. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell me a bit about the JGA group and what they do?
Yeah, thanks so much, Tanya. So I'm Laura.Thurlow, and I work for the JGA group. Prior to that, I've always worked in the charity sector. So I started off my career working in disability charity, and then I spent 12 and a half years working at community foundation. So we were grant making foundation supporting all sorts of fantastic charities. But for the last couple of years, I've been working at JGA, which is an independent training provider, and having been providing vocational training for over 30 years. So it was founded back in 1991 by Jane Goodwin, our founder, and it's now run by her son, Richard Goodwin. And we're really all about helping individuals and organisations to develop really positive futures. And we're really pleased to have been awarded the Queen's Award for Enterprise in terms of promoting opportunity. And that specifically recognised the way that we create supportive environments for diverse learners to progress and succeed with us. So my role at JGA is really to make charities aware of the fantastic opportunity that is offered and open to them in terms of accessing government-funded apprenticeship training to support their staff, whether they're brand new staff or existing staff, as you say, that are looking to upskill.
I mean, it's a win-win, really, isn't it? Just the support that gives to a lot of individuals who are either already in the charity sector or looking to develop a career. I think it's fantastic that JGA offer this. So yeah, great to hear. And what are some of the myths that people have about apprenticeships?
Yeah, great question. I, as a charity leader myself, until a couple of years ago, I have to put my hands up and say these were some of the things that were my misconceptions as well, absolutely. And one of the main ones, I think, is that apprenticeships, we sort of put them in the box and say they're just for certain sectors, or even just certain industries, and that's kind of how we view them. But there are, of course, a huge range of options that are available now. So apprenticeships can be used to train and develop staff in a really wide range of careers. And there's something called the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education, IFATE, known as IFATE. And on their website, if you check that out, that lists around almost 700 different apprenticeships, apprenticeship standards that have been approved for delivery by training providers. And there's around another 50 or so that are kind of in development at the moment. So that's around 750 apprenticeships that are either available now or going to be coming soon, which means there's 750 different jobs that have been identified, and a kind of structured training and development pathway has been put in place and exists to give individuals, basically to give them the knowledge and the skills and the behaviours that they need to be really good and competent in that specific job. So there's 750, and at JGA we offer a really wide range of apprenticeships at different levels, and those are around marketing, digital, events, assisting in events, fundraising, policy, and recently we've just added service design. So there's a whole range, and they are entirely relevant for the charity sector. So that's a misconception. And the other one that you touched on really in your introduction, Tanya, when you said that apprenticeships are both for people who are looking to develop a career, start a career, but they are also for people who are looking to upskill or retrain in a new area. So I think often the myth is it's just for that entry level role, and about kind of recruiting people at that early stage. It can absolutely, apprenticeships can be used successfully at that stage, but they're certainly not limited to that. So they're open to all ages and all stages of career progression. And there are opportunities to invest in the development and upskill existing members of the team as well. And they are offered a range of levels. I touched on that. So we go all the way up to degree level and master's degree level equivalent with our apprenticeships. So it's a really professional quality training vehicle that is suitable for a really wide range of scenarios.
Fantastic. I mean, I can definitely think of many fundraisers who could definitely put those courses to use. I think you also said you have is it bid writing as well, which is or something similar?
Yeah.
Yes, bid writing, events as well, fundraising, all of those courses would be fantastic for anyone who is already a fundraiser who wants to upskill in any shape or form. So great that you offer that, and I'll definitely be sharing that with more of our fundraisers as well. So it would be great to hear about the apprenticeship programme and what it looks like and how much time would need to be dedicated to the apprenticeship as well.
Yeah, so first thing to say is an apprenticeship is a real job. So an apprentice is employed by the organisation, and they're required to have that employment contract in place. And then the apprenticeship is very much tailored to the organisation, so to the context that you're working in, what you're looking for as an organisation, and also as the individual that you're placing onto the apprenticeship programme. But the formal training essentially is all done for you as an employer. So through JGA or whatever training provider you choose, your apprentice will follow a really formal kind of structured pathway of training. It's externally assessed at the end. So it's a learning structure that's in place that, as I said earlier, is all about giving that individual the knowledge and the skills and the behaviours that they need to succeed in a particular role. So what that looks like at JGA, our delivery model is that we deliver the training through either a whole day or more frequently now, because a whole day can be quite taxing, kind of 2 half-day seminars each month, and they take place online as live interactive sessions. To small groups of learners, which means that people can join from wherever they want to in the country. They haven't got to pay or spend time traveling to a training centre. And then in addition to that teaching, we also have skills coaching that we offer once a month, every 4 to 6 weeks, and additional kind of wraparound support for our learners. And all of the content that we deliver has been developed and is also delivered by experts in their field, basically, who have vast amounts of experience. And our tutors and our skills coaches continue to work in their chosen field. So that means it's really practical training from their real life experience on the ground, and can be directly applied to real life kind of working situations. And then we also have guest speakers that we bring in as well to talk about different topics, and our learners get to debate and kind of discuss things together, share good news stories, what's working for them, and that's really beneficial as well. So in terms of the time that's spent, an apprentice needs to spend an average of 6 hours a week on managed learning activities. So that will include the teaching seminars I mentioned, the individual kind of independently preparing for those, and then kind of putting that into context in their workplace after the seminars. And then there'll be work-based projects that are kind of real-time useful exercises for their organisation, but that again kind of engages and applies their learning. And then the length of the programme, most of our programmes, the majority sort of take 15 to 18 months to complete, which includes the endpoint assessment at the end. Some of them are a little bit longer. And our fundraiser programmes, specifically in recognition that a lot of people work part-time in fundraising, we also offer that as an extended option, but to people who are working part-time, so a minimum of 20 hours a week. It just takes a bit longer to get it completed.
Great. Oh my goodness. It sounds like you're covering all bases here. And it's such an amazing opportunity, especially for someone who might be coming from outside the sector as well. We often get clients who are a little bit apprehensive about taking people from outside the sector because they don't have enough time to train them. But it sounds like JTA have everything in place, the structure, the training, the coaching as well. It all just sounds like a really fantastic opportunity. So definitely my next question will be for an incredible opportunity like this, how much will it cost for the employer?
Yeah, very important question. So as I said, most of the apprenticeships are 15 to 18 months or so. So the actual cost of that level of training over that period is likely to be, depends on the course, but it's into the thousands of pounds, basically. Our 3-year degree programme is the most expensive, which is £25,000 to complete. And as much as an employer might really want to invest in the development of their staff, and they can see the benefits of it, that sort of level of cost is obviously out of reach for many charity training budgets. So the good news is that apprenticeship training can be 100% funded by government, and there's government funding available to meet 100% of the costs. So for large organisations, which the government defines as having a pay bill of over £3 million per year, for that sort of size of organisation, they will already be paying something called the apprenticeship levy, and that funding can be drawn down to 100% fund the training of their staff. But if a charity is smaller than that, then there is still at least 95% funding available to meet those costs from the government. And if you have corporate partners that you're working with, or other organisations that are big enough to pay the levy, they can also do what's called a levy transfer, which means that 100% of the costs of your staff training are paid, and it's basically a fantastic CSR opportunity for whoever transfers it across to you. So 95 to 100% of the costs can be met through government funding. And in the case of, for example, our fundraiser apprenticeship, the total cost is £8,000. So that means, even if it's only 95%, that means £7,600 is being met by government funding. So the cost to you for a 15-month programme is £400 plus VAT. So it's still really cost effective in terms of a way to develop staff.
That is fantastic. I didn't know it was that heavily granted. So just such an amazing opportunity for that cost is incredible, and for a 15-month program. Wow. And yeah, I guess it's always interesting to sort of understand what value do you think an apprentice will bring to the employer whilst learning?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned diversity earlier, and apprenticeships can definitely and have proven to be a great way to attract diverse talent into an organisation that organisations might just otherwise miss out on. So that's definitely a value add that can be brought. And yeah, in terms of that diversity of thinking and bringing fresh perspectives and new ideas, apprentices often come in with kind of new energy and enthusiasm, and may have creative ideas and kind of innovative different perspectives that they can offer. And they are going to inject some really practical mindsets into the organisation, because they're being taught very practical skills through their apprenticeship, and then they're putting that straight into action, with obviously the organisation reaping the rewards quite quickly in terms of seeing the benefit of that within the organisation. So there are things like work-based projects that are part of the apprenticeship programme, and those mean that you can have your apprentice looking at whatever aspect you identify within your organisation, with kind of a fresh pair of eyes, making some helpful suggestions for improvement maybe, or really delivering a project that your organisation just needs completing, with full training from our team and support, as well as the line manager kind of supporting them to complete that project. So I think delivered in the right way, and with the right support, they really can create a skilled and committed workforce, and a loyal workforce who you've invested in, and that want to kind of progress within the organisation in the future.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely, and I completely agree. And I think it's so important to have a diverse range of opinions and people coming from loads of different backgrounds, whether it's work related backgrounds and so on. But it's nice to feel like an organisation such as JGA are working to obviously help people on their career journey, but also to sort of diversify the workforce as well. So again, just fantastic to hear that as well. And I guess, what other things would an employer need to be aware of in terms of being eligible for the scheme?
Yeah, so there's some key things to be aware of in terms of being eligible for that government funding, and we can talk employers through that. But to ensure that they are eligible, some key things: an apprentice needs to be, I mentioned earlier, a paid employee of the organisation, whether that's newly taken on or existing. And they need to have a contract of employment that lasts at least for the duration of their apprenticeship programme. So it can be a fixed term contract, but it needs to obviously cover the duration of the apprenticeship. And the role that they work in today needs to be relevant to their apprenticeship. So it's not about training them for something they might move into. It's about being in a role and being trained to do that role really well. And we can help with that. We can look at job descriptions and match those as best to the different apprenticeships that we offer. And then, it sounds a bit silly, but they need the training. So we have to look at the prior qualifications that an individual has, the prior work experience they have. Obviously, if they've got a degree in the topic that they're looking to do an apprenticeship in, the government is not going to be keen to fund them. And actually, it doesn't make sense for anybody to do that anyway. So we will be looking at, is this giving them new skills that they haven't already developed? It's okay if they have a degree, but in a different field. But if they've got kind of substantial qualifications and experience in what we would be training them in, then that is kind of a cause for concern. And then something that the government requires of all apprentices is to achieve maths and English level 2. So that's GCSE, what was a grade C, and it's now grade 4 or higher than that, obviously, before they complete the apprenticeship programme. So either individuals can evidence that they've already got that when they start, or we can assess them, and if they're sufficiently sort of close to that, we can give them some additional training so that they achieve it before they complete their programme. So those are some of the key things that we would have to check straight away in terms of eligibility. And as I say, we can kind of support people through that process.
Right. Fab. And most importantly, what are the next steps if someone is interested? So it'd be great to hear from the view of an employer and possible apprentice as well.
Yeah, so any employers that are keen to think about apprenticeships for your staff, whether it's existing staff or recruiting new staff, you can have a look at the JGA website, and you can also, I'd be really happy to book in a call together so we can kind of talk through what you're looking for, what your needs are at this time. Whether that, as I say, whether that is developing your existing staff, or if you're looking to recruit and you're thinking that an apprenticeship might be a good route to go down. In that case, if you are looking to recruit, then I can also help you with finalising your job description and your job advert with some things to kind of tweak and add, specifically because it's an apprenticeship that you're going to be offering. So we can certainly help with that. And also we can help with some of the ways that you might want to look to advertise that role, as well as all the other avenues you're already using. There's a government website that you can post the vacancy for free, for example, and we would post it for free on our website as well and support and help with that. So yeah, so definitely contact me to kind of start the conversation and see how we can help. And the same would be true for individuals, although the main thing for an individual thinking about doing an apprenticeship is do have that conversation with your employer, get your employer's commitment to support you through it. And it's always best if I can liaise with you and your line manager, and maybe potentially also someone in HR as well, and have that joint conversation to see how things can get moving. But definitely as a first step, have a good look at our JJ website, and then share that with your line manager and kind of sell the opportunity to them, and then we can have a conversation.
Right. It sounds like a fantastic opportunity. If you can get 100% grant application confirmed, even better, but even 95% is amazing. It sounds like an incredible opportunity. And for individuals who are looking to personally develop or move into the fundraising sector, why wouldn't you want to be a part of JGA? It sounds great. So thank you so much, Laura, for sharing your information today. Like I said, if you are interested, get in touch with Laura. There are details that will be in the description for the video as well. So you can send her an email and she'll be able to send you the catalogue to download more information. But yeah, great. Thank you so much for joining me, Laura. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Great to see you today.
And take care, everyone. Bye.